Hello, friends. I hope you enjoyed the books and stories you heard last week. Just as a little reminder, I read the first 2 chapters of the chapter book called Mrs. Noodlekugel. Such a crazy name. It's sort of funny to pronounce. So today is chapter 3 of that book. And the 2 kids, brother and sister, Nick and Maxine, live in a really tall apartment building in a city, and they noticed a little tiny house down at the very bottom of the apartment buildings on the ground. There's a little house with a little yard, and they're curious about the woman who lives there. And their parents were, I believe the parents, at the end of chapter 2, said for them not to go over there. I think that was what Dad said, but we'll see. Chapter 3. The next day, Nick asked Maxine, "Do you think we should visit her?" "Yes, let's. Maybe she's lonely and would like a visit." "I wouldn't be surprised." Nick and Maxine went to the boiler room in the basement. There were lots of big pipes and tubes, and the boiler that was big and hot and made gurgling and hissing noises. There was a door that opened into the backyard. It was grassy and green with trees and flowers. And there was a little house with a garden in front and a yellow fence. So again, this book is on my phone, not a real book. I mean, it's a real book, but I'm reading it to you from my phone. So I don't have the pictures to show you that are very good. And remember, chapter books don't often have pictures to look at. You have to make the pictures in your mind. But this one does have a picture. I don't know how well you'll be able to see it. That's the boiler room, so you can see those big pipes. It's kind of like in the basement of an apartment building, and it's where like all the heating and cooling happens for the whole apartment building. So it's kind of a big, noisy, dark area. So they walked outside into the little grassy area, and Nick says, "It's pretty here." "The house looks friendly," Maxine said. "It does not look like a house a witch lives in," Nick said. "It does not look like the house of someone who hates all children," Maxine said. They pushed open the gate. Now you guys, have a question for you. If you see a house in your neighborhood and you don't know who lives there, is it okay to go inside? Definitely not. Don't ever, ever, ever do that. This is a fictional story. Remember, a story that has not actually happened. And this is just 2 little kids being curious. And I just don't want you to think in real life that you should do the same thing. Okay? The garden had sunflowers, also tomatoes, squash, and pumpkins. There was a bird bath made of concrete, a little statue of an elf, and a round mirrored ball on a concrete stand. There were also 3 birdhouses on tall sticks. On the porch, there were 3 chairs, a thermometer, an American flag, and a statue of a tall, skinny cat with 1 black ear and 1 white ear. "Do you see a button to push for the doorbell?" Nick asked. "I don't see one," Maxine said. "Maybe we should just knock." "I will see if the mistress is at home," a voice said. It was the cat statue. The statue talked? So wait a minute. They didn't see a doorbell. And so Maxine says, maybe we should just knock. And then a voice says, "I will see if the mistress is at home." It was the cat statue. The statue stretched, pushed a little cat flap in the door, and disappeared into the house. "It was a real cat," Maxine said, "and it talked," Nick said. "I don't think so," Maxine said. "Cats can't talk." "But I heard it," Nick said. There was a little picture of the cat here. He's going inside going inside the house through the cat door. So even if it was a real cat and not a statue, it still talked to them, which is even more evidence that this is a fiction story, so not real. "Maybe the lady is a ventriloquist," Maxine said. Do you know what a ventriloquist is? A ventriloquist is a person who uses a puppet on their hand, and they make the puppet talk, but they look like they're not talking at all, and they can make it look like the puppet is actually talking, and their mouth doesn't move. It's really hard to do. I can't do it. Watch. You could see my mouth move, right? Ventriloquists can do it without moving their own mouth. That's really cool. So they thought maybe they thought maybe the lady was a ventriloquist. Maybe it was a recording. We couldn't have heard the cat talk because cats don't talk. The door opened. There was a little old lady with bright dark eyes, a pointy little nose, and rosy cheeks. "Why, of course cats can talk," she said. "And if someone is patient and takes the time to teach them, they can speak perfectly." That's the end of chapter 3. Do you think you could make a cat talk? Okay, we'll see you next time for chapter 4.